What up, YouTube? It's your boy D. Welcome back to Kick Chat. Today we got our friend with us, Chris. Chris, tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Chris. I'm originally from Boston. I'm new to the LA area. And I do a little bit of customizing work when it comes to the culture. I started doing sneakers, and I've been trying to get into apparel. I have started dabbling in apparel and going to be getting into like cut and sew and stuff. As soon as our current world crisis eases up a little bit, I'm getting into dropping a line of crew necks. About a year ago, almost a year ago to the day, I line of sweatpants with a good friend of mine, Straws. Some people are familiar with Straws. Bodega has carried the brand. And we did like a limited run of 25 sweats. He did the patchwork, I did the dye job, and it was fun. So that was the beginning of stuff right there.
All right, let's talk about your favorite pair to customize. Like, what's one sneaker you work with, and it was just like your favorite silhouette to work with, or just like some of the best work you think you've done?
Some of the best work I think I've done, probably the one that probably took years off my life is the Fear of Gods that I did. I think those were originally sand. I think that's what originally they called those. It was like a very, very light off-white or like a light bone color. That's one of my favorites because of how much I learned. Again, that shoe was ridiculously difficult to work on. Shout out to my homie Joey at the Ugly Dunkling. He's an amazing customizer. He helped me so much along the way because customizing is something I just jumped into. You know what I mean? I didn't want to. I just jumped in with both feet. So having people help me out along the way is dope. Probably those. And I really had fun. I wish it was a shoe that was like a general release and easier to get, but the Jordan 4s, the Levi's collab, the all-white one, that perfect to dye. You can do whatever you want to it. So if that was a shoe that's easier to get, I'd love to have a corner of like 20, 30 pairs and just do whatever and let people send me what they want, and also just kind of freak them and let people, cop or just look, you know what I mean? So I did those came out and ended up being like a magenta after I mixed a few different shades of purple and pink. But I did do those, and I wear those and beat them every day. The denim gets distressed, so the personality on the shoe just changes all the time, man, for sure.
What was the first pair you worked on? Because like I've thought about customizing shoes, and it terrifies me to make a mistake, just like a whole dub. What was the first one you tested it out on?
So the first shoe that I dyed was actually that denim Levi 4. At the time, I was working for Concepts in Boston, and I, like all of us, when you're bored, we see the blogs. I see that was an upcoming release, and I loved it. I love the idea of it having like a gum blend with an off-white sole. The hints of red made the shoe look amazing, but I just thought of, imagine the day wearing those and someone just steps on your feet, like with white denim sneakers. Like, forget it. Might as well just throw them in the trash and walk home barefoot at that point. So when I saw the shoe, I was like, that shoe needs to be dyed. That shoe just needs to be another color. So leading up to, I narrowed it down. I was like, I'll either do like a purple or like a pink or like a teal or something like that. I think that'd make that shoe look crazy. So release came. Again, I'm somewhat of an idiot to a fault, man, because I didn't even use anything. Like I literally just went completely based off intuition. I bought duct tape. I bought different types of tape. I sealed off the sole. I bought dyes. I bought gloves. I bought a giant rubber container to dye in. And I just took off the laces, took off the inserts, and just dunked the shoe. Like I just dunked it. I was nervous as hell doing it, and I'll send you guys the video of me doing it. And I was nervous as hell getting it done. But when I woke up the next morning and I saw the dried product, I was like, man, one of the happiest days of my life, man. I went to work telling everybody. I took 100 pictures, and then I came home and they were super dry, and I put the laces on and everything. That's when I was like, oh my God, you did it. I was like, you did it this time. But honestly, wearing that shoe, all I did was wear that shoe to work, and all my bosses, my superior, shout out to my creative director at Concepts, Dion. He saw them and he was just like, oh my God. But then the next scary part of my life started. That next scary part of the customizing game, more what you're talking about, where it was the off-white Presto that had come out, the all-white one. And I had...
Hold on, pause. One, you did a great job with those.
Thank you.
I had a friend ask me to work on, because like, I did some project work with this sneaker group out here in New York called Kick Your Game, and they used to have sneaker paint nights. So I'm an okay drawer, like, you know, okay painter. So like I did a few of them. They were like, it was cool. And one of the dudes that run it, he was like, "Yo, I got a pair of off-white Prestos. Would you like to like work on it? Like hook me up?" And listen, man, I died that call so many. I'm like, listen, those are too expensive for me to take.
Yeah.
So when I seen it on your page, I was like, "Yo, this is a brave man right here."
That's it, but it worked. It went both ways. Like when people like right off the bat, you know, it was around that time where it was like a week before that release. And my boss was like, he saw my Jordans. He's like, basement, the 9.5 for me. Go home and just do something. Oh, I know what it was. John Mayer just had someone customize his the way that, you know, mine was inspired by his. Because again, I do things to order. So my boss showed me John Mayer's pair that someone had done in like a cotton candy blend, where the paint just like meshes and it looks beautiful. Like it just looks like a crazy cotton candy ice cream funfetti type of effect. My boss just showed me the picture. He's like, do that. And I was like, all right. Back in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck are you thinking, man? It's like, I went and bought the dyes. I just went home and I was like, all right, here goes nothing. And I just did it. Like, I kind of just used a little bit of intuition. Like, I just, based off the material of the shoe, I knew how to approach it. I was like, I'm going to spot dye it with a sponge. I was like, I'm just going to add a little bit with a sponge at a time, watch how it reacts, and then go from there. And so I literally applied a little to a sponge, boop, I spread, and then I just went ballistic from that point. Same thing, when that shoe dried, the corners where like the purples and the blues and the pinks would touch kind of just got blurrier. And when I woke up to the shoe, it was just gorgeous. And I brought it to him and he was just ecstatic. And then it just didn't stop from there. Everybody that bought that shoe, everybody that came in and won the shoe in a raffle, my boss let me display his pair. So when people were coming in to claim their raffle winnings, who did that? I want that done. I gotta say, man, I have not had a single person be like, you know, oh, I'm not happy, or you could have done better, or even try and be nice and sugarcoat it and be like, not what I was looking for, but I dig it. I've people tell me how happy they are, and I'm always relieved, but that makes me super happy that people love the way a shoe came out. They already aware that it's a shoe they're gonna see everywhere, that instantly stands out. So that's kind of a part of what I do.
All right, so I seen we talked about the first sneaker that you customized, but I seen your page, your personal page, and you got good feet, and you say you work at Concepts. So what was that first sneaker that got you into the culture?
Man, the first shoe that got me into the culture was the original, and I say original because there's two different ones. The first retro of the Jordan Flu Games. And I don't mean that new buck shit that everybody wears. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
hated that one. I hated that one.
I hate that new buck shoe with the stupid little face on it.
Face, yeah.
I'm a purist. Like that Italian leather on that shoe, I couldn't believe it. Like a friend of mine hooked me up with a pair. He called me. He was like, yo, he's like, I came up on a double. He's like, I got a double, size 10.5. And this was, damn, I wish I remember when this retro. I mean, I'm going to take a guess and say 2002, 2003. He's like, I was like, dude, bring him. He came over and I just wore him. And it's just that tumbled leather. It's hard to see that right now, man, on a shoe, where the more I beat on it, the better it looked, the more it just marbled, the more the little patterns and the little, the accents inside the leather just got better and better. That was the first shoe that I definitely committed myself to the sneaker culture. Where I'm from, it's always a niche thing with us, because in Boston, I'm from south of Boston, but in Boston and Massachusetts in general, we were always Adidas. Like we were just die hard for Adidas. I don't know if Nike ever checked their metrics, but if they ever, they probably wondered like, why the fuck does nobody in Massachusetts buy our shoes? Because everyone was just die hard. And I had older brothers, so I admired my older brothers. They wore Adidas all the time. They represented Adidas. Everyone knew 3 for the stripes. Like we represented that hard. So when Nike it was when Nike started to retro things that it kind of started to take shape more in Massachusetts. And then it just took off from there. And then and I fell in love with ones when nobody was wearing ones. Like I fell in love with ones, the high ones, the mid ones, and it was so much easier to get. Like I didn't care much for 11, so back then, especially around like 07, 08, Nike would retro like a popular Jordan, like a 7 or 11 or something like that. And then they would just release a 1 the same day. And no one would ever buy the 1. And I would always just, walk right in. I'd get the 1. Sometimes I get lucky and get both, come up on the 11 and the 1. But I'd be the one dude in that long line. They'd be like, yo, man, I'm just here for the Jordan 1s, bro. Like, y'all got them. Like, so yeah, definitely that 12. I had it till it fell apart. I sold it to somebody in pieces. This is in like the Soul Collector, like resale day, 2010. I put them on there as is. Some dude paid me like $200, and he was like, "I'll do the glue job myself." And they've been since then. They've been re-released a few times, but that shoe definitely was the one that did the trick for me for sure.
All right, so when it comes to customizing, I have a 50-50 love-hate for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I think about customizing, I think about going back in the days when you go to the mall and people would have SpongeBob airbrushed on their Air Force Ones. That was the original customization to me. But then it grew to the point where we have people making so much money on it, like the shoe surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cool with that portion of customization, but there's a dark alley for me where I feel like sometimes it's different between customization and official replicas.
Mm-hmm.
Sense of I've seen people buy an official pair of. Let's talk about the most recent one. I've seen somebody buy a pair of Bloodline ones,
mm-hmm.
and then have them painted like they were the Chicago ones.
I see what you
customization, but to me, I'm like, that's kind of faking. How do you feel about that?
I can definitely say that there's 2 different lanes. There's the recon decon, you know what I mean? The reconstruction, the deconstruction, like that's what shoe surgeon does. And a couple of the dudes like P. Avon, a couple of the cats I follow that are super duper talented at that. For some people that may not be familiar, those are dudes that actually, tear apart a shoe and reuse different soles, create their own base, apply their own glue, stitch everything back together into their own customization. And that even gets into a funny point too. Like the guy P. Avon just did a very dope, a Jordan 1 Low Union, and it is just like bananas. Like it's a dead-on replica, but he does things to order and it's different. You know what I mean? He's actually using equipment. He's actually busting down the shoe. He's actually buying raw materials and putting them back together and, risking cutting his thumb and stitching his finger together and things like that. So, shout out to those guys for doing that. And then there's people like myself that we kind of just do customization. Like I would never call myself a designer or something like that. Like those guys do that, but I don't do that. I definitely say I customize sneakers. You know what I mean? But I get what you mean. I definitely get what you mean. Like there's some people that will just try and take a shoe and spin it to fake the funk as something else. So I do, I'm not gonna lie, I do feel a way about like just little cute cartoon characters and stuff on a shoe, or like people still doing like the Gucci patterns and stuff like that. There's a lot of weird gray areas because there's some people that are doing that stuff that's kind of just, it's kind of more just being vintage now, just making like the old Gucci and Air Forces and stuff like that we used to see like in 99, 2000 type of time frames and stuff like that. But then there's people that are, just want a shoe to make it look as much as it can like an actual Gucci shoe instead of just going to buy the actual shoe. But I do feel some type of way. But I can say that I've learned to love it more since I've been customizing, knowing the work that goes into a shoe. I do admit that I do see some that follow more like, the cartoony style path of a shoe, overusage of just color and things like that. But in one way I might be like, ugh, I might cringe, but then I'm like, all right, they put in the work, they bought the materials, they sat down, they busted it down, they actually worked on the shoe. Salute that. You know what I mean? So it is hard. I guess to answer your question, no comment after all those comments. Yeah.
Oh, how you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm gonna chime in. He spoke about his Presto piece, where he customized his boss's Prestos, and I just think that customization and decon of sneakers just speaks to a person's soul. As long as you don't try to play it off as an original or a retro, then you just be like, this sneaker means so much to me that this one that I could afford, I had to make it look as close to the original as possible because I shared that love for that original. So I feel like that in totality just speaks to a person's soul. And it's all right. It's all right if the person doesn't play off their customized.
I hear what you're saying, right? And to a point, I agree. But it always goes back to an agreement I made myself in high school. You feel me? Because I remember in high school, if you went to certain spots, instead of having to pay $79 for your Air Force Ones, you could have got them for like $40. You feel me? And I'm not gonna lie, one summer I did it, right? Like I had bought my legit Air Force Ones. They got trashed. So then I had to, if they dirty, you can't wear them. So I went and I caught the little $40 pair, and I can say like, I wore them twice, and it was the most anxiety-filled days ever. Because I was like, what if somebody knows? What if I couldn't even wear them comfortably? So my thing
that I get.
I think from that day moving forward, if you can't afford what it is you want, get what you could afford.
Good point.
I could have got a pair of Chucks for $40, beat those up, and they would have looked good beat up. You feel me?
And no one could tell you a damn thing.
So if you want a pair of bread ones or Chicago ones and you got the money for it, or not you can't buy it, you can't buy it and feel comfortable enough to wear it because of the price range of it, then maybe it's just not for you at this time. Like all sneakerheads I know, when they were younger, there were things they couldn't get. It just wasn't in their budget, and that's really what got them super into the culture. So like to me, when I see people repainting, not to look like something original. Like if it's an original custom, like I can tell those are customized. That's you feel me? Like purple Levi ones. I know those didn't drop. So when I see those in somebody, I'm like, oh, that's a customization. But let's say you got the white ones, but you really wanted the blue denim ones, and you just dyed it blue denim. That's funny to me. Like that's only like you got the bloodlines.
I got you. That's interesting.
The bloodlines is a close color pattern to what it is you wanted. That don't paint that into a Chicago one, because let's be honest. If you're afraid to wear the Chicago ones because they're $1,000, you just painted your $160 shoes into those $1,000 shoes. So what danger you would in if you actually have Chicago's?
And then you're walking around and then you're walking around having to explain it to everybody that asks you if they're Chicago ones or something. You know what I mean? Everybody stop. You're like, oh, are those? And then you're like, nah, man. See, what I had to do is I had to buy a shoe and I mailed it to a dude. And then the next person's like, yo, you got? And then you're like, nah, man. See, man, what I had to do. You might as well just get a shirt that just says like,
see what I have to do.
Yeah, like these are customs, bro.
All right. I'm gonna stay on this question a little bit longer, right? Because D, your story goes back to what I said. As far as you trying to portray those as the original ones that you just played, right? That you just trashed. Because you had the cheaper ones on, you like, I hope. What if somebody knows, right? But if you customize your kicks, say the Bloodline, for example, right? someone can make it look like Chicago, but the bloodline has a different check. So we know that's the bloodline's check. You can't change the check on the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that's a bloodline Chicago 1 aspired Air Force One, Jordan 1. So if you say this is Chicago, everybody is going to know that it's not Chicago, it's a bloodline. So,
Exactly.
So once again, if that person just loved the Chicago 1 so much, but only could afford the bloodline and decided to customize.
Oh no, that's a no-go, bro. Cause let's be for real. They're walking around not going, oh, these are customized bloodline. They're perpetrating them as they're the Chicago ones. Like, let's be real. How deep do you have to be into the culture to recognize the check? Like, come on, bro.
You don't have to be very deep into the culture. Because my kids in high school could tell you those bloodlines.
And your kids in high school.
But that thing too.
That be running the box. They're into the culture, bro.
And that's the thing though, as far as like people being spectators of the culture, there's so many different ones. Like we all know people that kind of know sneakers, you know what I mean? We all know people that know them inside and out. Then we know dudes that are like encyclopedias. They could see a SB that came out in like 2003 and know what it is and tell you how the release went and how nobody bought it. So that it is hard because that same dude can wear the shoe. In one area, people be like, "Oh, dope Chicago ones," and then in another venue, like he can go into in a store like Kith or something, and people in that type of might be able to see it and be like, "Oh, he's wearing some nice customs." You know what I mean? So it is kind of weird. And then you can be around older people that just think you're just a kid that's just wearing some expensive, overpriced sneakers or something stupid like that. They might say.
Let's get into that feet check time of the day. What do we have on feet? Chris, let's start with you.
All right, cool. I'm honestly excited to see what y'all got. I was actually gonna say, like, if I'm doing this, I want to see what y'all got. I'm wearing one of my favorites that I caught on a deal. Sometimes if you ever attend like the sneaker convention things that are popping off everywhere, you will come the fuck up sometimes. And this is somewhat of a grail of mine that I found for damn near retail. LeBron 8 V2 Solar Red. I saw these like around the jets of Instagram on some Instagram, and how bright they are. I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, God damn. And I just thought they were just so dope to be on like the most comfortable sole. Like everyone knows that LeBron 8 sole is like one of the best. And again, I had to fuck with the shoe. The silhouette is more famous, obviously, for the South Beach. One shoe that, like, there's shoes that just take sneaker reselling and like collecting to a bump, and the South Beach is one of them. This bad boy was a must-have for me, and I've had it for maybe like almost 10, maybe 8 years now. They always look new because of this, this material that they use that LeBron can just like beat on, and the shoe will just always look good. So for sure, the LeBron 8 V2 Solar Red. Love these, man.
I'm not gonna lie. The South Beaches kind of changed Nike basketball sneakers because like those like one of the first pairs. I won't say they were, but one of the first pairs I personally remember people going nuts for, and resale going through the roof when those South Beaches took off.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie, those are kind of fire. Your turn.
Since we had Chris on the show today, I think I put some sneakers on that someone free. I got the Air Max, the Tokyo.
What you got?
At Tokyo.
Okay. With the resolution, it either looked like the Tokyo Air Max or it looked like the Mars Air Max, like the Mars with the 3M.
I wish. I got the Tokyo ones though. Since you were on the show, I figured I should know something that someone else designed.
Yeah. I'm glad Nike's doing that a little more too, man. Like they're reaching in their bag and letting fuck it. They're paying people millions and millions to design shoes. They might as well, pay youngsters, action to that just to get their work out and get their name out. What about you, D-Man? What you got?
All right, so this is one of my favorite fours, but I feel Nike could. I finish it. It's the Travis Scott 4.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm not sure if the camera's gonna show it all the way. The color kind of faded, and that's something he could have done way better. Like when these first came out the box, they pop in. A few wears don't get caught in the rain because the color is gonna fade. It's gonna fade bad. But when they faded and it was kind of like not the same,
Yeah.
it inspired me to go get this Steve Francis Houston Rockets jersey. Like I know everybody said he designed them like that for the Oilers, but if you can see, like I kind of got this jersey and then I got a Brillo brush and I beat the jersey. So it could look beat like my so I customized my jersey to match my kicks.
And shout out to Steve Francis for wearing one of the best jerseys out there. That was one of the best out there.
Sure. And shout out to Steve Francis for not missing the Super Bowl. Who cares if he had a game?
True.
All right, man. Chris, tell the people where they can find you.
Again, I'm on Instagram. I really just wanted to do this to just kick it with you guys for a minute. Again, with everything on, just being able to talk to people right now is pretty dope. So I'm not really much of a plugger type of guy, you know what I mean? But yeah, you can find me on Instagram at the Dior Homie. And if you want to see my customs, if you just want to check them out, give me a follow. It's at Dyelit Goods, DYELITGOODS. All right.
Guys, even if you're not into customs, please go check his page out. Like trust me, like he has some fire on there. Some those red fair gods. Whoo!
You mean red? I didn't even see him.
I'm trying to get I mean that was for somebody, but I really would love for PJ Tucker to see those. I really would love for him to. That's what like 4 people were like, yo man, you got to get him to see these. He's gonna want. I was like, man, that shoe damn near killed me to fucking finish that shoe. So if he asked me for it, like the pressure's gonna be through the roof to like do it again, and oh man. I'm like, maybe it's best to not let him see it. Maybe he can just see it from afar, but yeah. But thank you, man. PJ, I really appreciate that.
PJ about to DM you, man. But all right, guys, listen, man. Thanks for the watch. We need you guys to subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, we need you guys to like that video. And any questions you guys want to see answered on the next show, type them in so we can hear what you guys want to hear, and we'll discuss it. Thank you for watching. It's Kit Chat. Peace.